today on the podcast, we have a very special guest with us, Arpit. Arpit, why don't you go ahead and quickly give us an introduction?
Recent cases happened builder.ai.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one day they were $1 billion valuation, another day they are shutting their operations. Putting a wrapper on anything of AI looks gloomy, looks very easy, lucrative.
And after Byju's, this builder.ai happened, and then you saw a problem with Blue Electric as well. Do you think it's a snowball kind of effect, and we will see more?
See, these both cases are very different. Blue Smart is a governance issue. But since Microsoft has also invested in builder.ai, that also raises a big question that what kind of diligence is happening before acquiring the equity in a particular company.
How has AI affected managed service providers? What are the real life use cases? You can tell us the top three industries where AI has reached the managed service providers.
See, today I think 60 to 70% of businesses whether IT services, banking services, financial services, managed services, AI is changing part because services, there is a lot of mundane and repetitive tasks. If I talk about my industry, for example, what we have seen is that around of the total tickets, since we basically do IT tickets, around 40 to 45% tickets is automated, where no human is involved.
In India, alone, 1 year, we got 3,000 cyber attacks from
Every
big
week,
companies.
every week,
Every week, we see 3,000 cyber attacks.
that's what the thing is.
What are the top areas that you would want to have AI to give you maximum margin?
There are two core topics, right? One is the business objective layer, which impacts your top line. And then there are the skill concepts. I will try to have AI in four aspects.
Kunal Shah, great.
I don't use CRED, but I love that. It is a delta theory that he talks about. I don't use that.
Hello, and welcome all to this podcast, AI or Future Adoption with MadWin. Today on the podcast, we have a very special guest with us, Arpit. Arpit, why don't you go ahead and quickly give us an introduction?
Sure. Thank you, Varshit. Thank you for inviting me here. I think AI is a very common buzzword. I think every one from your audience would have been experienced AI till now. And since my profile allows me to have day-to-day interactions with CIOs, CTOs, both primary and secondary, so in terms of whatever is available on the internet is also wrapped up by AI. And primary, of course, all the conversations that typically we are having has a AI flavor to it. So I think it would be a great idea to talk about those experiences, to talk about what is the impact AI is bringing, to talk about what is the risk AI is bringing. So yeah, glad looking forward. In terms of introduction, academically, I'm a mechanical engineer and an MBA from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. Professionally, I'm working with Progressive as an AVP Sales and Marketing.
You have recently been promoted to AVP Sales and Marketing for Progressive.
Yeah. So the company has been kind, God has been kind. I started as a sales for one product, and then eventually things started sinking in, and I got the role of global sales head. Then additional responsibility has been added of marketing. So yeah, trying to do my best.
So, and talking about Progressive Infotech, Arpit, what is it that Progressive Infotech does? Who could be your clients, and what makes you relevant for them?
See, Progressive is a pure play managed service provider. What do I mean when I say managed service provider? I'll come to the problem statement, then I'll tell you what Progressive does to typically solutionize the solutions. So typically the problem is that in every company there is a core function and then there is a periphery which is around. So IT is being considered as a periphery function where a company would want to spend its strategic time and strategic resources on the business functions. Let's say you take example of any e-commerce company. For them, their product, their website application is good. But whatever is supporting that product and website becomes a periphery. So the DC part, the data center, the network, the software employees are using, their day-to-day issues becomes verified. I'm not saying it's not important, but it is not something that business will focus. So the billion-dollar question of a CIO is, where do I invest my time? Because IT support is considered as a thankless kind of a job. So
Yeah.
he has two options. One is either to take that entire load upon himself and expand team, purchase a lot of tools, invest in a lot of technologies, keep updated by a lot of nonsense which is happening, plus deliver whatever are the key KPIs. And the second bucket would be to take care of the strategic initiatives, digital transformations, aligning themselves with the business vision. So professional services player like Progressive comes into the picture where we take the load off their shoulders, that whatever is repetitive, mundane support, you give it to us. We are professionals, we manage it for you. Whether it's your end user support, day-to-day things like AD issues, troubleshooting issues, software issues. So there are those two things in technical, if I go to service tickets, incident tickets, that all we take care of. Then we also take care of the DC part, the data center, servers, cloud, the network, which is typically the firewall, internet vendor issues, and the third piece is cybersecurity. So
All right.
that is what we do, if I have to summarize.
No, I think I really read about MSP lately, so I can relate with a couple of things. These three areas: elevating the workspace experience, or enhancing security, or taking care of AI ops. Primarily, the three pillars of the MSP industry. If I'm right.
Yeah, that's right.
And when it comes to that, when should a company be thinking about hiring a managed service provider? Or, by when can I handle everything in-house, and what is the point I should transition, or I should think about either hiring a partner or getting these services in-house?
Very interesting question, Varshit. So
Thank
I'll
you.
try to answer it. See, if any company has a consolidated operations, what do I mean by consolidated operation is, let's say a company is based out of Gurgaon. They are having
Okay.
around 200 employees.
Okay.
So, and the data center is also there, and you are just on one or two floors. Absolutely, you don't need any managed service provider for managing your IT. You might need it for managing your cybersecurity, because different threads open up there. That will depend on your business, type of business that you are into. If you are into financial sector, if you are into healthcare, pharmaceuticals, anything related to data, a tech company, then of course cybersecurity will come into the picture. But for day-to-day IT support, you would not need a managed service provider. But yes, if you're a company which has a broader spread, which is not centralized into one place, which has multiple branches, it's very difficult for you to manage your operations. I'll give you a few examples. For example, consider of a company which has 100 offices, okay? And
Got it.
few offices are big offices, let's say 500 people sitting in one office. And then they have small offices which are having 5 people, 7 people, 10 people, sales and marketing offices. Now, if you want to solve IT issues of that 5 users, you cannot deploy one IT resource to serve those 5 users. It won't make sense, right?
Right.
To serve 5 users or 10 users or 15 users, you put up a dedicated IT resource. And how will you do it? You will do it remotely. Now there are maybe 70% issues you can you can resolve remotely. But anyhow, you need hands and feet support for these 30% of the things. So a company like this should definitely go to a managed service provider, because of hybrid working models, on-call supports, a lot of AI and automation that we bring in. That becomes a very good one. This is on the end user part. Coming to the data center and network part, if your service window is typically 9/6, which is 9 hours a day, 6 days a week, or 5 days a week, and you are again in 1-2 locations, I think you can manage it on your own. You hire one network engineer, one server engineer, they will do it. But as soon as your service window grows, you become 24/7. Your business grows, your ambition grows. Yes, a professional player has to. From a reactive approach, you have to go to a proactive approach. That is what we primarily do.
Amazing. Can we also put a number to this, Arpit, that if you are crossing this, hypothetical number, you might think about hiring a managed service provider?
Yeah, so if a company is 500 endpoints or above, that is how we see it. 500 endpoints means assets, the people who are using laptop and desktops. Yes, you should consider working with a professional player. We not only will bring a lot of value on the table, but your eventual TCO will also come down, the total cost of ownership. But okay, I'll not bore you with all these things. This is just on a call.
I think that's just another story where you put AI after your name and then you raise a lot of funds and then you trouble every other authentic company in the market.
Recent cases happened, Builder.ai.
Yeah, absolutely.
So one day they were $1 billion valuation, another day they are shutting their operations. Putting a wrapper on anything of AI looks gloomy, looks very easy, lucrative, but there has to be an actual use case that you're working on it. Otherwise, today what you would see the startups are doing is that they're just using OpenAI or Llama or Gemini and putting a wrapper on
No, absolutely. And after Byju's, this builder.ai happened, and then we saw a problem with Blue Electric as well. Do you think it's a snowball kind of effect, and we'll see more companies tumbling down over the coming months, or do you think now things look pretty stable and people have got the sense of the rights and wrongs?
See, these both cases are very different. Blue Smart is a governance issue. That was nothing to do with the business model. It is primarily to do with the governance structure of the core promoters. Builder AI was altogether maybe fraud is a strong word to use, but Builder AI is a different model. But since Microsoft has also invested in Builder AI, that also raises a big question that what kind of diligence is happening before acquiring a equity in a particular company. So yes, it would open. Actually, Byju's you are giving. So Byju's is also funded like anything. So so many big names associated on the board and not able to figure out the loopholes in the model raises a big question. But when I talk about the industry, I'm very positive, very bullish on Indian market. Since India market, there are a lot of other factors which contribute. If you look at temple economy of it, if you look at marriage economy of it, it's mind-boggling. Marriage economy in itself is roughly a $40 billion. Temple economy would be 2x of that. So in India, still digitalization has happened, but you would see a lot of brick stores, brick and mortar stores, and a lot of businesses which are tier 2 businesses not even getting business. So I think I'll give you one statistics. I think that will clear the concept. How much do you think typically AI adoption will be in terms of search? Whenever someone is going to ask a question, what percentage would be still lying with Google, Bing, etc., and what percentage would be lying to tools like OpenAI and Perplexity, etc.? Any wild guess you would like to do?
Not really. Nothing pops up. I think in
It is
terms.
only 3%.
Oh damn.
So maybe you and I will think that nowadays everyone is using AI, everyone is using ChatGPT. Only 3% people, only 3% traffic is in terms of search is with OpenAI. So a lot more to be done.
This 3% is like the overall Indian population out of 140 billion.
I'm talking about no, I'm talking about whenever someone is making a query. Okay, only 3% people use these tools to make a query. Otherwise, 90% of the total traffic still lies with Google, Bing, etc.
That's shocking because the way things are put up in front of us, it feels like more than 90% of the people are already using ChatGPT or Perplexity instead of Google, Microsoft, or any other search engine.
See, the answer to that would be India is very fragmented. If you look at still our purchasing power is around $2,500 or something. So India is slowly catching up, and a lot of population still is busy in earning their bread and all that stuff. So the kind of people that you and I interact with is very different with the actual India, the populous India, which represents the majority. So yes, of course, our assumption is based on the people that we interact with, but the actual India or Bharat is very different, right? We have all kind of people.
So that point I agree. And talking about this, Arpit, what do you think? How has so far, just talking about so far, none of the potentials and could have been so far, how has AI effective managed service providers? What are the real life use cases? If you can tell us the top three industries where AI has changed the managed service providers the most.
See, AI has in today, I think 60 to 70% of the use cases belong to services, whether IT services, banking services, finance services, primarily services. AI is changing. Why? Because services, there is a lot of mundane and repetitive tasks which are being done. You take an example of a call center, where typically technical call center, where what is the job of that person is they have a FAQ available with them. Like if someone asks this, you answer that. If someone asks this, you answer that. So all these tasks are now being replaced by AI slowly and steadily. If I talk about my industry, for example, what we have seen is that around of the total tickets, since we deal into IT tickets, provisioning tickets, around 40 to 45% tickets we have automated, where no human intervention is required. So that is a very big number, right? Recently, we are working with a very large telecom company. There, we have reduced the 35% tickets, and 15 full-time employees need has been eradicated. So it can be looked at two ways. Either the company will not hire 15 people in future, but the scale will keep rising. So that is productivity. Or the company will have to lay off these people. So it has both impacts. If I talk about the company, yes, they are saving. They're saving on two fronts. One is people costs go away. That is the tangible benefit. Intangible benefits are that AI is 24 by 7 available, right? There is no attitude issue. There is no servitude issue. It's a bot that is solving your queries. So I'm communicating to you in NLP, natural language, human-like intelligence, right? The top three industry that I see is BFSI. Yes, heavy use cases are being built. Then healthcare, heavy use cases are being built. And then slowly, I think manufacturing is also catching up.
And Arpit, my concern here was not a concern, but a kind of misunderstanding I have in my head. See, AI came into the picture. AI became relevant for the entire population 4 3 4 years back. It was there, but it was not relevant for a lot of people. Now, we all can see, use, get our hands on the same, and everything AI just sounds beautiful. The thing is, before all of this came into the picture, conversational chatbots were still a thing, right? On your website, you could have a chatbot where there could be preloaded 100 queries, and the next steps to, if you click on this is the next step. If you do this is the next step. Right? What is it on the technology level that AI has changed from that perspective?
I'll try to answer you in a different way. I'll try to answer you in a pattern that what is the difference between automation and AI. I think if I answer that, your conversational question will also get answered. So, what is automation? Automation is a rule-based. See, pardon me, I'm not a PhD in AI, but I'll use my limited understanding of the market and try to answer this. Okay?
You know more than me, and that's fair.
Yeah. Okay. So, automation is a rule-based scripts which are available in the market, where there is no intelligence layer, there is no ownership given to the conversational bot to take a decision. So automation is, if you do this, if someone asks you this, you answer this. If someone asks you this, you answer this. If you don't know the answer, say we can. This is automation. Okay. So the conversational bots you're talking about is these automations. They don't have any intelligence. Okay. I'm not being rude. They are rule based. Okay. So when I say intelligence, that means they are not autonomous. When I talk about today's bot, let's say the bot that we have a brand called Work. So what Work Elevate does is it will work elevate. So what Work Elevate does is it has an AI code that will not only tell you whenever you ask something. So it does two things. One is it is NLP enabled, so it will talk to you like ChatGPT. You not necessarily need to say that my system is slow. You can use any other jargon also. Fix my system, slowness issue, etc. So it will understand, it's capable of understanding what the problem is.
Okay.
Second issue is where the intelligence comes from. And you would also have heard of what agentic AI. So I'll also cover that one. So what agentic AI is, our agent will be sitting on your machine,
Yeah.
24/7 monitoring your machine, collecting all kind of telemetry data which is about what is your CPU utilization, what is your memory utilization, what kind of software you are accessing. Is there an issue with a DLL file of your, let's say, Adobe Acrobat? Is there an issue with some execution in your Teams interface? All of that it is proactively monitoring 24/7. So when you say my system is slow, it is intelligent enough to understand that, buddy, what would be the possible problem of your system. So it will give you 2-3 prompts that do you want me to optimize, or if you're a techie guy, it will give you multiple prompts that do this, do that. If you say no, I don't understand, I give you the power, you take that. So it will actually make your system fast. Now, what it is doing in the backend is based on the historical correlation and all the telemetry data that it has taken. It understands that your CPU utilization might be 85%. So I might have to kill few backend processes. Or your Adobe Acrobat DLL file has gone bad. So I might have to repair it. So all of that it will do. So two things we are doing with AI. One is we are giving them some authority to take action by defining the confidence level. That I have defined that if you are 95% confident, go execute the task. Earlier bots that you were talking about don't have any authority to take any action.
One more thing, but we discussed a couple of one use case in BFSI healthcare manufacturing. You said the number of tickets that were being raised earlier has now come down by 35-40%, right? Similar to this, can you tell us a few more use cases of, if a company, I have my operations set, right? I've been doing everything very nicely. I don't have any problem, right? Now, earlier, how things were thought upon is, I have a problem and I go out looking for a solution. Now, what has happened is there is a solution, something to do with AI available in the market. For that, I'll have to reverse engineer and find the problem. So, if a company is doing pretty well in terms of their operations setup very smoothly, how is it that they can think about using or leveraging AI in more use cases? One is we know the number of tickets come down. Can you tell us two, three more use cases in the same area?
I'll come to cybersecurity. Okay.
Okay.
First, I'll try to explain you how AI is leveraged in cybersecurity by quoting you a layman example. That let's say in a mall there is a guard who is doing the surveillance. What is the capability of that guard is just to do the entry and exit check. Okay. Now consider a step 2 where CCTV cameras are installed for surveillance, where there is a team sitting at the back 24/7 looking at the cameras. Okay. Now I'll tell you about AI. What AI will do is the third layer. AI will keep monitoring 24/7 the faces, the actions, the detailing of each person available in that particular moment. And whenever someone looks suspicious, because it will have also the historical data of all of these guys. With my face, for example, it can understand that I have a past of wrong. Just quoting example. So whenever I go in a shady way somewhere, it can trigger a trigger. That is how AI is leveraging cybersecurity. So there is a practice called SOC, okay, Security Operations.
Right.
What we do is that today any company would have only limited understanding of how many ransomwares are available, how many malicious IPs are available. So if in my website a person is entering from, let's say, Russia, how do I know whether that IP is malicious or not? So that is where threat intelligence will come. So what we do is there are tools available, AI ops tools available. What they do is they will collect data from all of your devices, okay, telemetry data. We call it logs primarily. So your entire system logs are fed to the tool. Now this tool has millions of data of global clients, a community, which is day-to-day tracking of all events which is happening globally. Okay, so it will correlate your existing logs with the global threat intelligence which is available, and then will give you the actions and what are the threats which is happening. And this is happening 24/7. So you can consider the same guard example that I have given you, that we will do for that company. That I am covering your security 24 by 7 as per global standards and global trends.
One doubt. Earlier, how were things done? I mean, पहले कैसे होता था? If I am sitting, if thousands of users are logging in uh, into my website, how was it done earlier? Now I understand there is this global threat intelligence database from where you can backtrack and identify and verify. Before this, what was the case?
If you go very early, there were things like antivirus is available, EDR is available, XDR is available. So वो
Okay.
सब
अच्छा.
that all existed. SOC जिसकी मैं बात कर रहा हूँ ये भी था. But
Okay.
the transformation is very different. The use cases are very different. For example, today if an employee, let's say I'm giving you your example. Let's say you are an employee and you are on your last working day.
Okay.
Now you are very smart. So what you will think is all the data that is available, I'll copy paste. I'll send it to my GP so that tomorrow when I go to a different company, I'll be able to leverage all this data. So that AI can catch it. I'm not sure earlier it was able to catch. Because two things. One is the AI will catch that there is no historical correlation of Varshit sending GBs of data to a GP. It is an anomaly form. In the past, we've never done that. Okay. Second is, let's say from your laptop, suddenly at night, 12 a.m., heavy uploads are happening to a location in Russia.
Okay.
So AI knows that your working timings are 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. So what you're doing at 12 a.m. in the night, that to Russia, that you have never sent anything. So it will identify this as a anomaly that some malware has affected your system, which is uploaded. So that is artificial intelligence, right? Intelligence on the top of whatever data is there. So a lot of historical correlation and uses of it.
Which makes me think, Arpit, now, let's say I'll stick with this same thing. This particular example of cyber security, right? Where what's happening is somebody is logging into my system. I have thousands and thousands of entries. I'm matching it against this global threat intelligence data that is available to identify whether something is malware or something is not right. Now, I am also in the entire process sharing a lot of data with the company who is again doing this entire search for what is right and wrong, right? And in turn, जितना मैं और AI adopt करना चाहूँगा, मैं अपना उतना ही ज़्यादा data भी share कर रहा हूँ on all the servers or wherever, which can open up other cyber threats which were not even heard of before or which might not have existed before. So
बचपन में अगर आपको याद हो, एक हमेशा ऐसे आता था, साइंस इज अ बून और क्या था, कुछ ऐसा था ना?
Yes, boon or bane.
हाँ, बून और कर्स ऐसा करके कुछ आता था.
Yeah.
So that is always will be there. Whenever you use a technology, there will be benefits you reap out of it, and there will be challenges you reap out of it. Now, the point that you are making is a very point which has to be gain attention, that there has to be AI governance that has to be drafted. There have to be policies to be drafted, and government is doing a lot on that part. Recently, DPDP Act is being implemented, and recently it is going to come. So, with AI, a lot of risks will also automate, because few days back I was watching a interview with interview of Elon Musk.
Okay.
So what he was sharing is that earlier, what was used to happen is if a terrorist has to bomb a particular human, let's say, it has to bomb the entire building because he's sitting in the building. Today, what you can do with facial recognition and AI, you will just send a drone, small drone. It will keep looking at people. Whenever he finds that this person is there, he will validate it with facial recognition, and then he will bomb that particular person. So all that is possible. So yes, there has to be a lot of countermeasures to be built within the community so that things are taken care of.
I think this is too much reality. As soon as you said that example, I was just checking the doors, your doors there. Okay, no drone can come and I'm safe.
There will always be people who will exploit the technology. So there has to be guardrails created around it.
That's true. And as a business owner or as a CXO, what is it that I should be taking care of, or how is it that I can omit getting trapped into one of these pitfalls of cyber threats when it comes to AI? Are there any certifications that I should absolutely abide by with respect to AI, or is just a couple of things that I should know before I take any decision?
See, three things I would like to answer. One is cybersecurity attacks are very real. Every week, around 3,000 attacks happen only in India, in leading organizations. Last year, a leading company who makes headphones got attacked. A lot of banks keep getting attacked. A lot of financial institutions. I won't name.
Got it. Sorry to cut you here. Who is attacking? I mean, I'm just asking layman questions now. Who is it that's attacking? Who is putting these cyber threats?
Cyber attackers. Cyber attackers means criminals who want to leverage your data and ask you for a ransom. That is simple idea. Why will someone attack? Someone will attack because I would take important data from you and then I will ask you millions of rupees in exchange of that. Or I would try to hit your goodwill.
Got it. And you said in India alone in 1 year, we saw 3,000 cyber attacks on
Every week.
leading organizations.
Every week.
Every week we see 3,000 cyber attacks.
Right. That's what the data says.
And that the 3,000 cyber attacks, these come to 3,000 different companies, or one company might be attacked 1,000 times or 2,000 times, like that?
That's difficult to answer, but I would assume at least 80% would be different companies. So these attacks happen. I'm not saying that these attacks get passed through and data leaks out, but yes, 3,000 attacks happen. See, 85% of the attacks that have happened are via email phishing. Okay? So again, people are the culprits who generally open the gates for attackers to come. Now, how it happens? Typically via email phishing emails. See, there is a book. If you get time, you read it. Same as ever. Okay.
Same as above.
So, same as ever.
All right.
Okay. What it talks about in core is that few things will never change. Okay, few things are core. Everything is periphery. Periphery will change. Core will never change. What is core? Core is fear, lust, love, okay, and like excitation, freebies. So there are few core things which humans will always love. So how and attackers use these things? They will give you 2 movie tickets free of cost. They will just write you an email that you're gonna iPhone. You would see a lot of these happen, right? How they leverage authority is they will act as if they are the boss. They will write an email from the boss's email. Now everyone fears. Fear is also among one of the core thing which will never change. So you will fear that something my CEO is asking, and you will immediately feel irritated. A lot of these email phishing happen. So to answer you, what is the way to protect it? I think training, awareness will cover 90% of it. Whatever you do on top of it to secure the parameter, the tools, the certifications you take in will be there, will be a part of an important strategy. But training, awareness, that is what will save you.
Alright, I think where we were is we wanted to understand from a perspective of the CIO, where is it that I can deploy AI in multiple business functions, where I can see the maximum ROI. If you are the CEO of a 1,000 crore healthcare manufacturing company, like pharmaceutical manufacturing company, what are the top areas that you would want to have AI in the first place, which would give you the maximum ROI?
There are 2 core functions, right? One is the business function, which impacts your top line, and then there are support functions which impacts your top line. So I will try to have AI in both of these places. If let's say I'm a healthcare brand, I'll invest a lot in automating the processes of OPDs. There's a long queue, the booking systems, the customer support, the claim processes. All of that can be automated because they're repetitive. Similarly, if you talk about the support functions, your DC and infra is very critical, because if your internet is not working, if your servers are not working, and all of the data that you have is very confidential, you have all the patients data. So I will invest a lot of proactive monitoring of both security side and keeping the uptime of my infra, so that there does not any downtime is there. Because one downtime means if one hospital is down for 1 hour, it's a very huge business loss.
Absolutely.
So I'll totally try to change the approach from reactive to proactive. That is the baseline thing that I'll do in each of my functions.
Got it. Understood. And
The
that's really
challenge that I see, what is just one more line? The challenge is, see, people think that if they're investing on technology, that is an immediate cost. But not investing in technology is a larger cost than that.
absolutely.
What I'm saying is people don't measure the impact if 1 hour a hospital is not running. What kind of revenue and business impact is that, right? A tool which would enable this, or a service which will enable this, would be maybe 5% of that cost. But every
Absolutely.
function has their own budgets. CFOs have their own budget. Uh, Nothing against it. You have to be budgeted and you have to work lean in order for the organization to grow. So that is a challenge that everyone faces.
So, going ahead, what is one entrepreneur you look up to, Arpit?
Shah.
What did he say?
Kunal Shah.
Kunal Shah, Cred.
Yeah.
I've been loving Cred lately. They've been giving me all sorts of discounts,
No,
cashbacks.
unfortunately, I don't use Cred, but I love that
Okay.
guy. It's amazing to speak to listen to what his vision is, or the kind of content he speaks. I really love it.
Oh, nice.
There's a delta theory that he talks about. I totally believe in the delta theory.
Got it. What is it exactly? I don't know. I've never heard about it.
It says that if you're doing a startup, and if you have an idea, just think about how much delta is there between current. I'll give you an example. If you are, let's say, think about cab services. What was your experience when you had to go stand somewhere and just wait for a cab, negotiate the price, etc. Out of 10, what would you rate that experience?
Not good when it comes to how it was.
Pick a number. Pick a number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever number.
3,
Okay. And what about Ola Uber experience?
10 on 10.
10. So the delta is 7.
Yeah.
So when your delta is more than 3 or 4, the process becomes irreversible. Now you would never like to go back to the process. So always think of an idea where the delta is more than 3. Just think today how people are doing it. And post my idea or post my services offering, what people will read out of that. If the delta is 3, then go for it. If it's not, think again.
Absolutely, 100%. Which brings me to the last question. And it's kind of a surprise question where what we do, it's a role reversal round. You get to be the host, I get to be the guest, and you can ask me any question that you want. Personal, professional, go ahead. And you can take your time to think about it.
I would like to ask you, if podcasting is a lot of competition, right?
Right.
The kind of thing that you have gotten into, you will have to compete amongst the top. Whatever the podcasters are, you would know all the names, right? Rajamani, Biceps, all of these are looked at the premium podcasters.
Correct.
And adoption is not easy because today a lot of content is available online.
Correct.
You just have to go to the social media and there is content.
Absolutely.
How do you really plan to stand out? One is in a very competitive environment. Plus, what you're doing is creating content. So much content is already there. So how do you really, what is there in your mind?
I think, Arpit, podcasting was a very strategic shift to what we are doing now. So primarily as a business, what MadWin does is we are a B2B marketing and sales agency. We help B2B companies generate more sales qualified leads for their business. So if your ticket size is anywhere above 15 to 20 lakhs and average ticket size is about a crore and a half and more, we come in as a partner. We help you host roundtables. We help you sponsor this podcast so we can bring in your ideal guest profiles on the podcast and we can directly introduce you to them. Or, from the roundtable, whatever leads we are generating, we can pass it on to you. So it all started from that, where what we wanted to do was we wanted to shift from a pushy sales method to a pull marketing method, where we are showcasing what is the value that we are providing, what is the value that we're putting out there, and based on whosoever is interested, we are generating organic leads for our business as a company. Right now, why podcasting? Why there's so much competition? Podcasting is not something I am focusing on as a revenue generating model. I don't see monetizing this podcast bit for another 6 months, 1 year, or however long it takes. It just stuck me in December 2023. I've always been very, pro on entrepreneurship. And right after college, I had one startup, then we sold it. And after that startup, it kind of I let down and tried a couple of product-based ideas which didn't work out. Everything I tried, I failed because the lack of intent. So I thought, okay, I knew sales, I will stick with sales, and I will continue this entire thing, which is why B2B sales and marketing. And why podcasting was because back in December 23, I just stuck with me, what I really wanted to do. Do I really want to be a marketing agency for B2B companies? Yes, I am good at it, but is it something that I'm doing for my own pleasure? And the answer sadly was no. So I had to find ways where I could also enjoy entrepreneurship. So podcast I identified was one thing which I started enjoying, and I knew back from then that I wanted to do this. I just didn't have the means. Now that we have the revenue to support this, I am not stopping. I am sitting with the CXOs. I am sitting with people who are making the difference. And what Madwin is going big on is AI. We want to break down every single thing, right? Whatever happens across industries, and we want to bring the real picture out from people who are leading on the ground and from the front. That is the vision behind the podcast. When it comes to monetizing, competing with the likes of Shamami or Nikhil Kamath, I love that man, and so many people who are doing so many good podcasts, and the podcast is delivering so much value. I'm not even trying to compete with them. What they're doing is absolutely amazing, and the more the content, the better, because people really need to learn. And nowadays, I think education, what we are taught in schools, is very different from what we have to face in real life.
Correct.
When you see a CEO of YouTube or CEO of Netflix, or person who is leading progressive infotech sales from the front speaking, right? You really get an understanding of how things function, how things run, what is relevant, what is not relevant. I think that was the intention.
Interesting. Yeah. No, no, very well answered. Yeah, yeah. I get the drift.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for coming in, joining me today. How was your experience on this podcast?
Very good experience, Varshit, sorry. Uh, we got to talk about a lot of things that even I didn't know. I on top of the mind, there were a lot of things which are not there. So I
Yeah.
think you were a very good host. You touched about briefly all the topics that AI could cover, and it has been a pleasure experience.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much.